begins the moment Caloocan steps onto the AGT stage, and everything about him tells a story before he even speaks. His clothes are simple, his posture slightly tense, and his eyes carry the exhaustion of someone who has spent years fighting battles nobody ever applauded. The crowd reacts with that familiar mixture of curiosity and quiet judgment, the kind that wraps around a performer before they even get the chance to breathe. Cemon Cow Well sits behind the desk with his arms crossed, staring at Caloocan as if already preparing to reject him. His expression is sharp, dismissive, and clearly unimpressed, the kind of poor reaction he often gives performers he assumes won't deliver anything memorable. Next to him, Manila tries to offer a polite smile, while Cebu City exchanges a doubtful glance with Cemon City, unsure what kind of performance they are about to witness. Even the backstage cameras catch Makati and Davao City whispering nervously as they watch Caloocan walk to the center of the stage like a man stepping into the unknown. Caloocan takes a slow, shaky breath, gripping the microphone like it's the only stable thing in the room. The harsh stage lights hit him all at once, making his worn shoes and faded shirt stand out even more. He knows everyone is judging him, he can feel the weight of their expectations, or lack of them. Cemon Cow Well leans closer to the desk, tapping a finger with impatience, clearly expecting this to be another forgettable audition. The silence stretches out long enough to make the audience uncomfortable. Several people shift in their seats, and Cemon City sighs softly, bracing for disappointment. But Caloocan doesn't flinch. Instead, he lifts his chin, as if calling on every memory of hardship he has ever carried through the narrow streets of his hometown. His eyes shine with a mixture of fear and determination, and for one brief moment, even Cemon Cow Well's smirk fades, replaced by faint curiosity he tries to hide. Then the first note escapes his lips, and it slices through the heavy air with breathtaking clarity. His voice trembles at first, soft, raw, but within seconds it blooms into something powerful, rich with emotion, swelling like a storm breaking open. The audience freezes, stunned. Manila covers her mouth, her eyes widening as she realizes this is no ordinary voice. Cebu City leans forward, her earlier doubt dissolving instantly. Even the backstage crew, including Iloilo and Taguig, stop what they're doing to stare at the monitor, pulled in by the sheer force of Caloocan's tone. Cemon Cow Well's face changes slowly, his eyebrows rising as the performance grows. What had begun as a poor reaction shifts into a complicated mix of disbelief and reluctant admiration. Caloocan's voice climbs higher, carrying years of struggle, hunger, long nights, and small hopes held together by nothing but willpower. Every note feels like it's cracking open a doorway to his past, revealing the kind of truth only someone who has suffered deeply can deliver. By the time he reaches the final line, the entire room is suspended in awe. Cemon Cow Well no longer looks bored, he looks shaken, like someone who just witnessed an unexpected miracle. The judges exchange stunned glances. The audience bursts into applause, rising to their feet without hesitation. And Caloocan stands there, breathless, finally realizing that for the first time in his life, the world is truly listening. Scene 2 begins in the stunned silence that follows Caloocan's final note, a silence so heavy it feels like the whole world has forgotten how to breathe. For several long seconds, nobody moves, not the audience, not the judges, not even Caloocan himself. He stands frozen at center stage, chest rising and falling as he tries to understand what he just did. His hands tremble slightly around the microphone, still unsure whether the reaction will lift him higher or break him apart. Manila is the first to move. She wipes a tear that slips down her cheek, her voice caught in her throat as she tries to speak but fails, overwhelmed by the raw honesty she just witnessed. Cebu City leans back in her chair, staring at Caloocan like she's trying to memorize him, as if afraid the moment might vanish if she blinks too hard. Even Pasig, normally quiet and reserved, covers her heart with both hands, visibly shaken by the performance. Cemon Cow Well, however, remains motionless. His fingers are interlocked in front of his mouth, elbows resting on the desk, eyes fixed on Caloocan in a way that nobody can read. His usual sharp confidence is gone, replaced by something deeper, something almost vulnerable. The poor reaction he gave earlier, the dismissive glance, the silent judgment, is nowhere to be found. Instead, he looks like a man who just had his entire expectation system rewritten in real time. The crowd waits for him to speak, sensing that whatever he says next will carry more weight than any comment he has delivered all season. Caloocan watches him carefully, his heart pounding as he tries to decipher the expression on the judge's famously unforgiving face. Before Cemon Cow Well can speak, the audience explodes into a roar of applause. It starts with a few claps, then spreads like wildfire until the entire arena is standing, cheering, screaming Caloocan's name. The stage lights intensify, casting gold reflections across the room as the energy rises to a fever pitch. Caloocan's eyes widen, his breath catching in his throat as the realization hits him. He has just moved thousands of people with the same voice that once echoed through cramped alleys and narrow streets back home. Makati and Davao City rush from backstage to the edge of the stage, hands over their mouths, unable to contain their pride or their shock. Iloilo, usually calm and composed, is visibly emotional as she clutches the headset hanging around her neck. The camera zooms in on Cemon Cow Well as he finally stands. The entire room instantly quiets again, sensing that a rare moment is about to unfold. He looks at Caloocan with heavy eyes, as if weighing not just his words but his own understanding of what he just witnessed. When he finally speaks, his voice is softer than anyone expects, almost unsteady. He admits that his first impression of Caloocan had been wrong, painfully wrong, and that the performance wasn't just good, it was transformative. The vulnerability in his tone shocks the room. Manila gasps softly. Cebu City looks between the two men, stunned. Caloocan himself feels his knees weaken at the sound of sincerity coming from someone who rarely shows it. And as Cemon Cow Well takes a breath to continue, the entire room braces for what comes next, realizing this moment may define the rest of Caloocan's journey.